Okay, guys, so Connor and Ryuichi Hasegawa. Connor says, how did you get into fighting games, the FGC? Love your content, man. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Connor. And can you talk about, this is Ryuichi Hasegawa. Can you talk about your origins in Street Fighter? For example, your first Street Fighter gaming experience, whether you played at the arcades or consoles, which of the earlier games you liked, etc. No problem. So my dad was really into video games. He actually made a couple of games. He had one which was like, it was like a pinball game. They sold it and stuff, whatever. Point is, I grew up playing video games from a very young age, and there was a computer in the UK called Commodore 64, and we had IK Plus. It had a lot of different names, that game, and a lot of different iterations, but it was pretty much the same thing. 2 players, sometimes 4 actually, I think, but 2 players against each other, red and white, and they did the flying kicks pretty much and the punches. And I played my brother, and that was the beginning of my love for fighting games. Then one day Street Fighter arrived around about the same time that, in my eyes, around about the same time that Final Fight arrived. Both of them were very beautiful, so beautiful to look at. Guy. On the SNES, the cartridges only had so much memory, so I had to buy, there was 2 versions of Final Fight. There was one with Cody and Hagar, and there's one with Guy and Hagar. I think you could only get the Guy and Hagar one in Japan. No, maybe you get it in the US, but I imported all my stuff from Japan. When I had a SNES, I imported my stuff from Japan. In England, we had a PAL system, so we had 50 hertz TVs running at 50 hertz, and America and Japan had 60 hertz, so the image was sharper and the games ran at a faster rate, the correct rate. So I got a proper TV, I got an American SNES, and I imported all my games. I had like 400, I want to say I had like 400 games, pretty exaggeration, but I had a lot of games on the Super Nintendo. It's my favourite gaming system of all time. But I grew up on the south coast of England in a seaside town called Worthing, which was a holiday destination, and it had arcades. And then a town over was Brighton, which had even bigger arcades. And in Brighton, they had like not just Street Fighter, they had like Rainbow Edition and all different iterations. They even had Street Fighter 1 with the big buttons where you could punch. Then they had Street Fighter, different iterations. Champions Edition was my favourite. Rainbow was just kind of funny. And I just get my ass kicked by various people, but there was no such thing as the FGC as far as I could tell. I didn't think of anybody actually taking these games seriously. I just thought it was fun. Definitely fun to beat people though. When it came to the SNES, I imported it for £90, which was a lot of money back then, when it first came out in the 90s, and my mum remembers it bizarrely. And I beat my brother so badly at fighting games. He never plays them. Ever. Just doesn't play fighting. He hates them. One of my greatest achievements. If you have a brother, you know what I'm talking about. And then there was I was the best of my friends. And then except for this kid called Tony. And Tony apparently was really good. And Tony played Guile. This was back in Worthing. And so we had he came one day, we set it up. I didn't really know him very well, but he came around to my house and we played using the little SNES pads, and I played Ryu and he played Guile. It's the classic matchup that everyone likes to talk about. It's hard, and that's why people love it. Now when I played him and concentrated and had the witnesses, I beat him. Don't know what it was. It's first 5, first 10, so I was really close, and it was really hard, and it was really hard on me mentally. To beat him, and I didn't know much. No one taught me anything. It was just natural how I played the game. Same for him, I think. And then they left, and we played a bunch of casuals, and he destroyed me like 99.9% of the time. It was ridiculous. He just took me to pieces, and that was. I felt like he was a much, much, much better player than me, but at the time, I just somehow could handle the pressure of the game. It sounds silly, right? Bunch of kids, but the pressure of the people witnessing and just the focus. So somehow I had that little edge over him back then. And then after that, what happened was later on I went to university and I had other interests at university, and there was nobody I knew like Street Fighter, but my university was right next to people in England will know about this arcade in London, Tottenham Court Road. I go downstairs and the place was just full of fighting games, and I'd go down there at lunchtime every now and then on my own, just play fighting games, play people, lose. It didn't really make friends. I just went and played, and it was just a random thing. And I started to work in exactly the same area, so I did the same thing every now and then. Every now and then I would go for a little break and go play some fighting games. But to me, they were all the same. I didn't actually really understand the differences back then between, like, this is, here's Alpha and here's, I was just a Shoto guy. I am the definition of a casual player, and I will always represent a casual player. So I just pick up Ryu every single time I played, or Wolverine, who I think when he was first introduced pretty much had the same moves as Ryu, had like an uppercut or something. And yeah, that was it. And then I came to America. Fighting games died, arcades died, and they died because arcades died. And fighting games, you need a good bunch of different people to play. So, the fighting game community was born in various places, and one of those was, in California. And one day I was playing my Xbox, I was playing Call of Duty actually here in America, and I found hyper fighting. I think it was hyper fighting. So it was a terrible online experience, but I played it anyway. Loved it. Playing people, and we'd go on the Xbox forums, and then eventually I discovered the SRK forums. Then I discovered the FGC. Then I would buy. I discovered Evo. I'd buy DVDs of Evo. Watch those. Then I discovered like Daigo and that's Justin Wong and all that sort of stuff. And then the timing was perfect for Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4's success was based on nostalgia. It was basically Street Fighter 2 all over again when you first started playing the game. And it was based on, the timing was perfect because it was network play. So now all of a sudden, you didn't need an arcade, you didn't need a bunch of people in your house, you didn't need a community as much as you just got online and got to play loads of people. So HDR happened, and then Street Fighter 4 happened, and it was amazing. And then I just got more and more involved, and then I finally went to Evo for the first time, 2011. Sat at the front, and this dude comes up to me and wants to sit down because there was really not many seats left. So he wants to sit down next to me. Introduced himself as Ryan Gutex. So me and Ryan chatted away, and became Facebook friends, and I started watching his stuff, and at some point I just decided I wanted to be a little bit more involved. I wanted to do my bit, and it started with collection. I collected fight sticks, Mad Catz fight sticks, because I thought they were really beautiful, and I had some disposable income at the time. I was working really hard, and I thought they were beautiful, and I thought the design, the way they designed the boxes, the whole experience. If you remember the original Mad Catz sticks, you'd open up the front doors and everything. The front doors, they'd have are they doors? I don't know what they are, but you'd open it up like this, and it was beautiful. It reminded me of opening up Apple products. The user experience was extraordinary, and so I did the videos about my collection. Markman remembers this. And then once I found statues, I started collecting those. I started doing videos about those. And then I started doing videos about all sorts of things that were Street Fighter. Then I started doing speculation videos. And then, I did interviews way back in 2012 when the Capcom Cup 25th anniversary was here. I interviewed, two of the first people I ever interviewed were Gutex and Dominion, who makes a great interviewee. And then one day I just started doing more and more of it, and and here we are, basically. Some dude who loves the game, and you can see my passion. I hope most people can. And that's the history of Born Free. So I win. I'm sure that's how you pronounce this name. I win. He asks, since we all know about your love for Akuma, who is your least favourite Street Fighter character? I think probably El Fuerte. Never used to like playing him, never understood how to play against him. That's my fault. But more than anything, I just didn't think he was funny. I thought he was loud and obnoxious and, racist by design. They're all racist by design in Street Fighter. But just not funny. Sort of like that Ono kind of sort of sense of humour that just like, it's not for me. Eleanor ruined Ultra Street Fighter 4 for me. I didn't used to like watching the finals and the healing and the stupid hurt boxes on that character. And Decapre was a real letdown for me, to be honest. Like, I was so hyped about this one new character we were going to get, and it was just, it was wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. For a lot of people love Decapre. Just not for me. So, I guess I hope that answers your question. The question is completely subjective, I suppose. Insert Coin asks, how likely do you see ORO in season 2? I love that's a good question. Well, I mean, obviously season 2 is now brand new characters. I was chatting with the Capcom guys. I actually really love talking with the Capcom guys. And they turned around to me and said, how come when we're telling you the truth, Mark, you don't believe it? I just thought that was a great question. How come when we, Capcom, are telling you the truth, you don't believe it? I don't know. Maybe it's been Ono's is trolling. Maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe a little bit more communication would be good. I don't know. But yeah, brand new characters. I don't know. Still not 100% sure. I know that Maximilian said it, I believe, in a video, and Vesper said it, but I'm still not sure where their source was. Might have been Matt Dahlgren. It's a little unclear to me as to whether they are new to the universe as in never been in the universe, or new to the universe as in never been playable. A lot of people are saying it's just that they've never been playable. Which, okay. It looks like Helen is probably Helen/Colin the first one. I'm actually excited about that. I'm excited about new characters for sure. But, at the same time, I'm excited about returning characters. So, it's the 30th anniversary of Street Fighter. Can't we just have everything? Can't we just have everything, Capcom? Capcom, please. ORO was one of the first speculation videos I did, and it was one of the most well-received videos because there was a lot of logic in it, and it was just hype, and it was fun to speculate. But the way it was received, like if you go back and look at that video, the likes versus dislikes and the comments and all that sort of stuff, it was just one of my most popular and well-received videos, and I think it sent a message to Capcom because they actually listen way more than you could ever possibly imagine. I've talked to those guys, and they watch all the videos from all the content guys. They read all the comments. So if you think your comments are going on deaf ears, you're wrong. If you think the content is going on deaf ears, you're wrong. If you have a point of view, state it. Do it respectfully, because no one's going to listen to someone who's ranting and raving and being crazy. Do it respectfully, do it logically. But I think you'd be very surprised when I kind of got an understanding of how they actually receive information and report it back to HQ, that's what I'm going to call it, Japan, let's say. I think you'd be pretty surprised. A lot of you, I think that they do not listen, and actually they do listen. What they do with that information is completely different. I don't know what goes on internally at Capcom. I kind of get the impression that, not everything is always smooth, and that's true of a lot of companies. I've worked for a lot of big companies. Not a lot of big companies, but I've worked with a lot of big brands, and I know that inside those brands, it's not always smooth. Everybody has a very strong opinion about what should be done, and you can't please everybody, as we all very much know. So as for the rest of this year, we're going to get those brand new characters in Season 2. My question is, Season 2 has 5 more characters. We've already had 1. So 5 characters for the whole year in the 30th anniversary? Is that really what's going to happen? And I don't care. Forget EVO just for a second. Forget Capcom Cup and you can't introduce characters at this stage and blah, blah, blah. Forget that for a second. Right? Just think the whole year, right? Just 5 characters? 30th anniversary? Definitely an opportunity to bring Sagat back into the fold. I mean, he was the original boss from Street Fighter 1, 1987. Sagat was the original boss. This is the year to bring him back. And try not to think I try not to think too much in a box. No, they've said there's Season 2 and they said there's 5 characters and that is it. There are so many different ways of saying, here's a free character. Here's another character that's being added to Season 2. Here's the 30th anniversary bonus season, which goes along with Season 2. You could just do a million different ways. You can end season 2 by May and be like, okay, here's season 3. I don't know. But I would love them to get on with season 2, and I would love to see some returning characters. I would love to see some bonus surprises along the way. I think, what better way to surprise people than to say, this is what you're getting in 2017. These 5 characters. They're all going to be brand new. Now stop speculating or whatever. I don't know. But I would like to hope this year they finally have some surprises for us, and I would hope some of those surprises are characters, and I would hope they're returning characters. And I think the message has been sent to Capcom, which is a lot of people do want to see ORO. A lot of the people I've interviewed want to see ORO. Infiltration wants to see ORO for sure. Sien wants to see ORO. And there was somebody else as well. I can't remember who. I forget. Kind of reminded me. I remember when I went to E3 and the whole of EG independently said they wanted Karin in the game. It was such a weird thing. I remember thinking to myself, is this like, do they know she's coming? Because it was like, oh, is it just Momochi and Choco Blanca are trying to make it? They all talk. Like, what's the deal? Because everybody said it independently. Everybody from EG was like, we want Karin. Whole nother story anyway.